Well, welcome back. This is video three, and let's do a quick review of where we're at. We started off on target number 11, and that was to create your launch strategy. Um, so you should have got with your sponsor, mentor, drawn this out so you could see where you're going, get some ideas. You understood what the first target was, going silver. You reviewed the silver video, the silver video presentation video. You drew out yours or what somebody else's would look like. You set up a potential launch date. You started working on or had successfully created your approach strategy with your mentor or sponsor. And you reviewed your list of people and how to go and where you're going. And then, of course, then it's contact and invite and to your meeting or your event and doing ABCs with your sponsor, mentor, or somebody knowledgeable. So that was the basic idea. Then we understood the importance of somebody that really wants to build, that you get underneath them and help them. You saw that, and you probably looked at the section on the ideal scene, so you got an idea of what that looked like. And of course, after you reach silver, it's going gold. And so you got the idea of thinking in the future. And when you see somebody that's interested, you start working on them to think about their next step. And everybody's on the same plan, so that makes sense. And then we got into the projects that you needed to work on, which was creating your story, understanding how to build the silver distributorship, prospecting, and qualifying. So now we move into the next step, which is orders. What are orders? Well, orders are instructions to do. So, it's kind of like every day I get up, I have this business planner book that I created myself, which lists out on a separate sheet of paper today's date, my goal for the day, time, and basically all the activities that I want to accomplish, economic information, project information, things I want to accomplish. And on that page, then I look at, what needs to, the focus is what do I need to do? So basically, orders are dictate what you need to do or what somebody else needs to do. So if I was working on helping somebody else do that, the orders would be, okay, I need you to contact 20 people today. Because again, in the sense of helping somebody else, they've got to do the activities to get the job done. If they don't do the activities, the job doesn't get done, you don't get what you want. And the whole idea here is for you to get what you want. And you do that by doing certain things. So here one needs some kind of day planner or a daily system to create your daily orders, things that you need to do or things that someone in your organization needs to do. So for example, okay, we want to make 20 calls today. If that's what you're doing, you want to, or you got your list, you want to create your list, you got to follow up with John to sign him up. You got to invite five people to your first launch event or your second launch event. You want to go out and go do some prospecting, maybe some surveys. You've got an ABC set up at 4 o'clock with myself or with Michael. You then want to attend a training and you want to do that on Thursday night, but you also got the Monday night events and the Tuesday night events and the Wednesday night events. So these are all things that you need to do in order to participate to build your business. So the order is the action that, when done, creates the result. So this becomes an important step in measuring your activity and results in the statistics section, which we'll get into. And the key point here is that all results are created by activities done. Once you see what activities you do create, then all you have to do to create your results is simply do more of the same activities with others. So it's important, really an important step in this whole process. It basically it's the instruction. So let's take a look at it this way. So you get up, it's the same day, it's another day, and I'm going to play with my Nikon business today. And I get a phone call from my aunt. I'll talk to my aunt, and we got into a discussion, blah, blah, blah. And then we move forward, and it's all of a sudden, oh, I'm going to clean the house for a little bit, and then it's got some laundry to do, and no focus on doing the business in a professional way. So, in other words, if you want to get a result here, then you got to treat this like a business. This was number one in the 10 things that you need to know coming from vested interest because it's a business. It's not a hobby, it's a business. If you're going to do this to make money. I mean, again, if you're not, then you don't need to be here. You don't need to pay attention. So in this business, the key is leverage. Each distributor that goes to work in your organization and duplicates what you do or expands your business. And this is how it can grow exponentially. So here you are. You get three people who get three is nine. Nine who get another three is 27. 27 that get three is 81. 81 that get three is 243. And 79, it's 243 that get three is 729, and so on and so on. I mean, this is theoretically how it works. Now, will everybody do that? No. I mean, that's, but that's the general idea. Um, I used to play with this. On my first line, I think I think I had eight who were personally sponsored distributors, and then that eight turned into I don't know. I had one gentleman on my second level that sponsored 151 people. So the numbers get skewed. They don't necessarily follow this, and they can be greater. By the time I was down on my sixth level, I had thousands of people that were involved in the business. And of course, that's the leverage that this business creates. But here's what's important to understand. It's all built on people doing a small number. It's usually all built on people doing one, two, or three people, you know, and then those people do one, two, or three people. When somebody really gets excited about this, they'll go to town. So the gentleman, Roger, who did the 150 people on this front line, um, was more interested in building the business for his needs. And again, it was his needs. And I helped him big time. So this is important. This is again, you look, think big, think in futures. And so in this area of orders, then create that system where you give yourself orders. Go sponsor somebody today. I used to get up in the morning, I'd have my map drawn on the wall. I had the big picture, I had big circles in it, and some of them when were there was nobody in that circle. So I woke up with the idea and put on my mind, I got to fill in that first circle. I got to go prospect. I got to make calls. I got to go visit people. I got to go do, it. You have to give yourself the order to go do whatever the activity is you're going to do. I'm going to send out 50 emails today. Fine. Then put that down that that's what you're going to do. And then when it's done, tick it off. Reward yourself with the tick off is that's done. Okay. I went and I saw Sally and she signed up, done. I got $500 in product order. That's what I wanted to do. I got done. And that validates what you do and it moves you forward. Okay. Ideal scene. What's an ideal scene? Well, in my opinion, based on this example, it's $2,000 a month in income. That's the ideal scene. And so, what does this look like? So let's take a look at this and really get some ideas of how you put together this ideal scene. So we're going to set a target of 10 retail customers on AutoShip doing 150 per month on average. So that's a target. That's something you're going to do. You're going to run into customers that want to buy the product. You're going to put them, get them as a customer, put them on AutoShip. It doesn't really matter what they go on. AutoShip would be ideal. Okay. And that's going to generate 1,500 in retail volume and at 20% is $300 a month. Okay. Add in the retail rebate of 20% because you're the leaders, 20 silver and above. That's another $150. So CV varies for each product, and this could change. I'm using the example of with the CV of 50%. And this is only an example. It's not what may actually happen, but I want you to understand workability so you can tweak it. If you sold sleep systems and that was made up most of your volume, then of course it's going to be higher. If you sold other products that were less, it's going to be less. So this is just as an example to look at. Now, you have an additional personal group of three executives who generate 500 in CV. There's another 50 bucks. And you create two goal teams. And they do a total of 25,000 in CV. And at 6%, that's going to give you $1,500 in income. It's 42,000 in OV, 25,000 in CV, $1,500 in income. Now, if you take simple qualifying volume, then you need 28 silvers, 14 per team. So each person does 14. So you add two of them, that's 28. And this would be two gold distributors in their organizations. Now, these two golds are going to be moving on to platinum. You got many silvers in this picture that are going to be moving towards gold, and that's where the growth comes in. Now, this picture then represents the ideal scene of what you want, 2,000 per month. Now, there are many ways that this could be done. This is simply an example using the compensation plan by Nikan. The idea is then to put this picture up on your wall, blank, and then start filling in the names into the circles when someone gets and goes to work. The picture starts out blank, and then as you get distributors, you add in their name, and then you reach their target rank, and then they add in the label, and so on and so forth. It's kind of like a progress board, and basically shows you what has been done, and more importantly, what needs to be done to reach your goal. Thus, you focus on what needs to be done. Now, I learned this really well when I produced a movie, and we had progress board of all the scenes in the movie. And then when we started, we saw the whole thing. And we had scene one, scene two, scene three, scene four, all the way to the end of the movie. And movie was called It's a Digital World. It was done by our marketing department to explain how it started out as a marketing tool and then turned into a movie, and it turned into a little cultural thing on the internet once the internet took off. But anyway, the idea was we got to see what was done, but more importantly, we got to see what we needed to do. So when I was going for my final rank of Royal Diamond, I needed to create three new platinums. And that was based on the plan at that time. The concept here is the same. So I put those three circles up on the wall. I needed to fill them in. And first I had to have a distributor that wanted to play, that needed to solve his problem. So we had to qualify them there. Second, I needed somebody that I could help build to silver because that was the first step, then to gold, then to platinum. So, and then understanding what gold was and what platinum was, they needed to have silvers underneath them. So it was as I filled in the first name and got that person, that was Joe. Then the second person I got was Frank. And then underneath Frank, I got Ralph and Jerry. And then the third person that I got was Michael G. He was my next door neighbor. And then he had his people. So as I got them and put their names in the circles, then the next step was that I saw what they needed to do. So then I could give them the orders of what they needed to do, and then I could give myself the orders of where I needed to work. And that's how that worked. So here's the picture. This is you, Platinum, 10 retail customers on auto ship, three executives that doing 500, two gold legs. Now let's look at this picture of the two gold legs. So one gold has three silvers. Now let's look at each silver underneath them. This first one, he has one and then they have two. The second one has two and one has one and one has two. Another one, and one. Same with gold number two. So he has one, and then he has a gold. And the gold has three, and they have their people, etc. So you see how it's not you're doing all the work and you're creating all the silvers. It's you're building a team, and the teams are building teams. So that gold, for example, now let's just look at that one gold. Okay. So they've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 people in their group. Uh, so the other one has 15. So again, it's this is how it works. So there's your picture. Now this would go up on your wall as blank. So then if you come back here, and of course, obviously, you got to get the 10 retail customers, you got to get the 3 executives, and you got to find these 2 folks. And that's just part of the initial part of the business. So we already reviewed that. You're going to start doing that and you're creating your list, finding out who you want to work with, getting agreements, starting to go to work. And again, from experience, I will tell you that when people realize what they can do and get excited about doing and then start to do the work and get results, then the rest takes care of itself. So you want to draw this out, put it on your wall. So in this particular case, you have 28 leaders in our platinum who are hundreds of customers and many direct seniors and execs. And you have 10 customers on auto ship. You have 3 executives working to go silver. You're doing 42,000 in OV and 25,000 CV, $1,500. Your total is $2,000 per month. And you have 3 goals working on platinum and you're halfway to diamond. I mean, there you go. That's how it works. So now, when you start, all of the positions are blank, and this is where you begin to create each position by assigning the order and performing the activities. So in this particular case, here you are, find your first distributor. Now, the order would be to find this person, and you do this by prospecting activities and all the other activities noted above. You keep doing them until you get the result. And in this case, it would be a distributor who wants to build this business. So, okay, you come back to the first part. You create your list. Why do you create the list? So you can find that distributor. Once you've got that distributor, what's going to work in the future is helping that distributor build their business. So it makes perfect sense for you to help that distributor. Now, if the distributor, if you leave them on their own, I found this also, most people did. They just sponsored somebody and thought, well, they're going to just build the business, and they didn't. In other words, why would you leave somebody on their own? If they'd said, I want to play, I want to do this, I need help. So help them. That's how it works. And so on and so forth. Now, let's take a look at the next our area, statistics. Now, statistics are simply measurements of productive activities that one does, plus results achieved. So in the case, we know what needs to be produced. The last step is the valuable final product. We'll see that shortly. The statistic of what is produced then are related to the activities and are known to create the results. So first are the desired results that we want to reach a goal. So 10 auto ship customers, 5 distributors, 3 golds, 25 silvers, an OV of 42,000. So the activities that are known to create the results. So from a policy standpoint, it is known that when you do the activities listed, results of building the business have occurred. Therefore, the objective is to understand how much you need to do based on who you are. Keeping track of what you do and then comparing that to your results will show you. Once you know this, then it's simply repeat and repeat and repeat, both with your activities and with the activities of those on your team. So here's some of the areas. So number of prospects on the list, presentations made, ABC calls, gross income, customers on auto ship, follow-up calls made, phone calls made, text sent, product sales, sales volume, distributor signups, distributor sales volume, rank advancements, silvers, plus anything else you want to track. Now, how do you look at that? Well, first you have to track the numbers up. First, I'm going to go back to the oil and gas industry as an example. I was doing 100 dials a day. I was contacting on average, I think around 15 and 20. In other words, I would contact somebody, contact a secretary, open the door to the next step, which was then reaching the potential buyer. And from the 20, I'd maybe get down to seven, or six or five, somewhere in that area. And if I contacted a five of the five people, I would actually qualify maybe um, one, two, or three people to send out material to. Now, I also knew that the more I would send out, the more opportunity I had to call back and go through the full presentation and get them involved with the client. So I kept graphs of this, and I would saw what I was doing, and I was making about one sale a week, and I was averaging I think about 1,500 a week in sales by doing that. But that wasn't enough at the time for what I needed for my monthly budget, so I wanted to increase that. And so I looked at all my activities of what I was doing and looked at, well, if I increase the dials at the beginning, I'm going to have more people to talk to. So I upped the dials to 120 a day. And lo and behold, after a period of time, I increased my income. So if I look at the relationship of the activity to the result, it was very evident where I needed to focus my attention because it gave me more people to talk to. It gave me more qualified people. I made more sales. And that really was the whole emphasis of my experience, that why I would keep track of this. When I was building Meekin, I tracked a number of different things. I tracked, the people I was talking to, the interviews I made, the presentations, the sales. And as I created silvers, it went from silvers to a number of rank changes, how many new distributors were signed up every month because we're on a month-to-month basis. And you could start to see patterns of where to work. The deeper I worked in my organization, the bigger it got. So these were all just simply indicators that validated what I did to keep me in a positive mood versus not knowing what happened. I saw many people, they went silver, but didn't plan the future, didn't keep track of what they did, couldn't teach people what to do to move forward and quit because they didn't understand what to do. And this is simply going to teach you what to do. Now, this takes maybe 15 to 30 minutes a month. It acts as your guide and sets up the orders for the next month. And we're going to take a look at some examples here. I would start by making a grid to record all the activities. I would do that in my day planner. I would, if I made a presentation, I'd make a tick and I would, then I could go back and add those all up. People you speak with, presentations, ABCs, sales made, phone calls, texts, follow-ups, volume. It wasn't hard to do, and it's just, like anything else, you got to get into a habit of doing it. And after you get a month or two under your belt, then you can really see what you're doing. Then I would look over and add everything you do and keep track of it. Uh, and here's the point. You're trying to see what works for you. And this I found to be different for everybody. So here's some charts. So I use Excel. It's very simple. They have a section on creating charts and graphs. You put in the data and you put in the dates and that creates the picture. So here was this distributor, and they started out in January. They did 487 in February, 1534, and then they dropped down to 1273 in March. In April, they did 3421, and then in May they did 9500, and that was the month that this person created three silvers. So in one leg, which was very exciting for this person in the sense of managing that, it was also looked at the number of new distributors she signed up. So here, January 0, February 6, March 12, April 21, and May 35. Now, this was in her organization, not what she did. So, and this was what helped create all the leaders. Now, this was a distributor that followed this outline and was given the orders, and based on the graphs, you can see the results. She learned very quickly how to get results and got them. So it was a matter of focusing her attention. So because I knew what would happen if she did certain things, she followed those orders and did those things and got the results. In the beginning, a new person doesn't have bad habits on what not to do or what to do until they don't do. It's kind of interesting. So they're more willing to do things in the beginning. And it's really easy to see that more distributors that are signed up, the greater the volume. Therefore, the correct production is validated and confirmed when they compare the results. Now, this was a different distributor, and this was based on a 3 month period of time. This was the total amount of outflow, the things that she was putting out, customer follow-ups, emails, texts, whatever the case may be. Number of sales made, it was a similar pattern, March, April, and May. And the customer follow-ups, same kind of pattern. Total income, same kind of pattern. So what she was able to see by her doing this was the more she put out, the more she got back. Very simple process. But when people don't do that and they don't look at it, then they're not focused on doing what they need to do. So this was encouraging. So she did more customer follow-up. She did more outflow. She made more sales and she got more income. That was very simple. So, what was determined for this distributor is related to customers, phone calls, emails, and the income followed. And this was on the retail side. This was not building distributors. This was totally a retail. Therefore, this becomes a very valuable tool to help see the effectiveness of what you're doing and the results you're getting. That's all the statistics are for, is to validate what you're doing so that you can see what's working and what's not working, where you're wasting time, where you're not wasting time, because you've got to be efficient in building your team. Once your team's building and very productive, then you can waste time doing other things, which is what I did. Okay, let's go to the valuable final product. This is the last piece. And this is what you were producing from all the work you were doing. In our case, we have two valuable final products, customers on auto ship and distributors who are getting what they want. Look at that last part. Distributors who are getting what they want. That's the valuable final product. So if you have distributors not getting what you want, then you're not producing a valuable final product. And if you have people that are customers that, aren't buying product, then that's not a valuable final product. So we want to focus on that. That's what you're after here. Now that you have a complete example of the admin scale in play, it's easy to see that the most valuable final products are gold distributors and all the silvers and moving forward. And because the key to those distributors is making sure that they're getting what they want. And the more they are, the stronger your business becomes. Now, the key here is playing the game and doing what you need to do to get the job done. In creating this example, I went up and down the list to make sure that every item was in alignment with all the other items on the list. So by producing a valuable final product, the exchange received is the goal first set. So you built the business, the valuable final products were created, you got the distributors, they created the volume, you got the income. Now, using this example, and once platinum had been reached and then the income goal was made, it would then be quite easy to see how the business would grow to diamond and royal diamond. So if I were guiding you and you were approaching this level, we would be thinking about diamond and royal as part of the strategy. And then, as you saw in the chart, this is easy. So you got two platinums there, or two golds that were going platinum. You had a gold underneath them, and you had a couple of people that were really close to gold underneath that. So that's the march. It's start at direct, go to senior, go to exec, go to silver, go to gold, go to platinum, go to diamond, go to royal diamond, and you can't miss a step. You have to reach the step before you get to the next step. So the more you understand that, the easier this is to play the game. You set the pace and the results for what you want. The above will make it a bit easier. You still need to do the work. It took me a total of 6 years to reach diamond and then another two to reach royal. And I've been a royal diamond now for 27 years. So is it worth it? Absolutely, it's worth it. So you want to think big and think in futures. So your homework now on this last section is to review this last section, do starting with the orders, get your day planner, get everything squared away, create your ideal scene, draw it out, um, you know, understand your valuable final product, and then review all 10 items. Go back to the top. What's the goal? What's the purpose? What's the plan, policy? What's the plan? What's the program? Are the projects? What's the orders? What's the ideal scene? What are the statistics? What are the valuable final product of whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish? All of those will encompass everything that you need to know and do and be able to achieve whatever it is that you want. So there's your homework assignment. So do your full now, your own scale for your goal, and then send me the results. Send me what you did in full, and we'll do the same thing. We'll review that as soon as we can. This should not take you more than an hour, to do it a couple of times, whatever the case may be. Send me the results. We'll bring it up on the next meeting. Thanks for being on. Enjoy. We'll see you on the next call.